Wait a minute. So, in the last class, we were discussing about the cement concrete pavements. That is the stresses which are going to develop in the cement concrete pavement. We have discussed. Today, we will see the some more stresses which are going to develop, and we will be seeing the and writing the formulas for other stresses. So these are the three types of stresses which we are going to encounter. That is wheel load stresses, temperature stresses, then frictional stresses. These are the types of stresses what we are going to uh, consider in the rigid pavement. Then Westergaard, so he is a famous scientist who analyzed this cement concrete pavement by assuming that a thin elastic plate is resting on the viscous media or dense liquid, and he has arrived some important definitions, that is important terms he have arrived. One is the modulus of subgrade reaction, second one is radius of relative stiffness, third one is the equivalent radius of resisting section. Okay, he has arrived with these formulas or these terms. Then as we have discussed in the last class, that the modulus of subgrade reaction, it is the resistance offered by the subgrade soil to the applied load through the plate, that we are going to call it as a modulus of subgrade reaction. So it is the resistance offered, and this modulus of subgrade reaction is measured at a deflection of 0.125 centimeter with the diameter of the plate as 75 centimeter. If the diameter of the plate is 75 centimeter and the corresponding deflection, that is the corresponding load at 0.125 centimeter deflection, we are going to consider it as a modulus of subgrade reaction. Then what do you mean by this relative stiffness? So as we all know that the slab is going to bend, so it is going to deflect because of this thermal stresses or temperature stresses, which can be characterized by using this radius of relative stiffness. So this is the formula for radius of relative stiffness. So we have discussed in detail in the last class. Then comes the critical position of the load. So this is very important. There are three loading points are there where the stresses are maximum, or we can call it as a critical. One is edge portion, that is the edge of the CC slab or cement concrete pavement. Another one is the corner, the corner portion where the stresses are going to develop maximum. Then comes the interior portion. Okay, the at the interior. So these are the three locations where we can expect this loading is critical. That is critical positions of loading. That is edge, interior, and corner loading we are going to expect. Then comes the radius of resisting section. So we all know that when there is a load means there will be a bending moment. So the bending moment will be occurring at the loaded area and acts in all directions. So I told right, if you consider a slab, so if the area is, if you are applying the load means it will be the loaded area. So the bending moment will be acting in all direction. So using this radius of resisting section, what will be the distance? At what distance the bending moment is acting? Up to what distance the bending moment is acting? That can be determined using this radius of resisting section. And this is the formula for radius of resisting section. And there is one criteria here, that is a by h. Okay, that is a radius of wheel load distribution, and h is less than 1.724. We have to use this formula. B is equal to square root of 1.6 a square plus h square minus 0.675 h. So when a by h is greater than 1.724, a is equal to b, or b is equal to a, we are going to assume. So this is the criteria you should remember: a by h less than 1.74, a by h greater than 1.724. Then comes the Westergaard's analysis. Okay, I think we have already discussed these equations in our highway engineering subject, and we have solved some problems also in this Westergaard analysis. Okay, what he told means I told it again. He came up with the assumption that an elastic plate is resting on the viscous media, and there are three locations of critical stresses which is going to develop in the rigid pavement. One is that interior portion, that is as we all know that the critical location. So at this interior portion, what will be the V load stresses? So V load stresses at the corner, what will be the V load stresses? He is going to explain. And at edge also, what will be the V load stresses? Yes, given. Okay, so these are the stress equations at interior, edge, and corner. So in Westergaard's theoretical analysis of stresses, the cement concrete slab is assumed to be homogeneous thin elastic plate. Okay, I told right. In the starting only, he has assumed that the cement concrete is homogeneous in nature, and it is of a thin elastic plate in nature. That is, it is a thin elastic plate with subgrade reaction, vertical and proportional to deflection. So whenever you apply the load on the cement concrete slab, the subgrade reaction will be vertical. That is the subgrade reaction, or we can call it as a modulus of subgrade reaction is vertical and proportional to deflection. That is K is proportional to deflection. And Westergaard equation for stress due to applied load at three critical locations. These are the three critical locations we have already known. That is interior, edge, and corner. So this is the formula. That is stress due to V load at interior location, and this is the stress load at edge location, and this is the stress at corner location. So these are the formulas you have to remember. And remember one thing, they will ask problems on these Westergaard V load stresses. Okay, they will not ask any theory portion in this. They will ask the problems. Okay, today we are going to solve these problems in the 11 o'clock class. Okay, so everyone be ready with the notes and calculator for 11 o'clock class, so that we can solve the problems on this V load stresses. So remember, the V load stresses will be applied on three locations. One is interior, at the edges of the slab, and at the corner of the CC slab, we are going to have this V load stresses. Then as we apply the V load stresses, the crack is going to develop. Okay, a crack is going to develop. If you apply the load on the pavement, means there will be crack generation will be there in the cement concrete pavement. So that at what distance the crack will be occurring. So using this formula, we will be determining that at what distance the crack has occurred. So due to corner loading, so when you apply the load to the corner of the cement concrete pavement, the tensile stress is developed on the top of the pavement across the corner bisector of the diagonal. So if you take a plan, if you apply the load on this corner, it acts along the across the corner bisector or the diagonal. Okay, the tensile stresses are going to develop at the diagonal position. Okay, the tensile stresses are going to develop at the diagonal position if the corner load stress exceeds the flexural strength. So when the SC is greater than the FCK, that is the flexural strength. So when the corner stress is greater than the flexural strength, the crack is likely to develop in the cement concrete pavement. So remember, this is the criteria for development of crack in the cement concrete. That is when the stresses in corner region is greater than the flexural strength of the CC slab, then only we can get this cracking in the cement concrete pavement. So when the corner load stress is more than the flexural strength of the concrete, then only we can expect this cracking of cement concrete slab. So in the actual field also, if the corner loading is more means, then only the pavement is going to fail. So if you go for edge loading and interior loading, the pavement will not be failing. Because of this corner stress, the pavement is going to develop the crack. Then maximum stress produced by the wheel load at corner does not exist around the load. Okay, the maximum stress, okay, whatever the maximum stress which is developed at the corner, it will not be exist around the load, but occurs at a distance x from the diagonal. Okay, occurs, okay, at certain point at a distance x from the load, the crack will develop. That cracking can be determined using this formula. So remember, the crack will not develop at below the load only. At certain distance along the diagonal, the crack is going to develop. That length where or the distance from the corner where the crack is developed can be calculated using this formula. So this is the formula which is specified by IRC, and this is derived by this Westergaard. Okay, Westergaard only derived this formula, and he has arrived at x is equal to 2.58 root AL. And where x is the distance between the corner loading and the point of cracking. A is the radius of wheel load distribution, and L is the radius of relative stiffness. So is it clear where the development of crack will occur in the rigid pavement? Is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Is it clear? Is it clear? You can unmute yourself and you can answer. Okay. Next is a modified Westergaard. Okay. So Westergaard, what he has assumed that a thin elastic plate is resting on the viscous medium. So, but it is in the field, in the exact field, it is not proper. That is the cement concrete is not a thin plate, it is a thick plate, and the soil subgrade is treated as a viscous media, but it is not the viscous media. But some of the modification to overcome these drawbacks of the Westergaard theory, some two or three members have worked in the field, that is Teller and Sutherland. So they have conducted so many studies on this cement concrete pavement, and they have came up with the modified Westergaard's equation. Okay, so the same for they have only modified the edge loading and corner loading. Why? Because the edge loading and corner loading are too critical. Okay, maximum critical. Okay, I'm not telling critical, it is the maximum critical location or maximum critical stresses are going to develop at this edge and corner only. So they have made some modification to this edge load and corner load. So you can observe the formula here. So they have only modified the edge load and corner load. So you can observe here. So the load stress equations by analytically derived by Westergaard were subsequently examined by several other investigators by carrying out experimental studies using suitable instrumentation. That is, they have conducted so many studies in the field, and they have come up with this modifications for the Westergaard equation. So who are those? They came up with the modification is Teller and Sutherland and Kelly. So Teller and Sutherland, they have conducted so many studies on edge loading. Okay, if you apply the load on the edges of the cement concrete pavement, how it will be behaving? That is edge loading they have considered, and they have come up with this formula, that is modified Westergaard's formula. Then Kelly, he has conducted so many studies on the corner loading. That is, if you apply the load on the corner, how this cement concrete pavement is behaves, and how the stresses will be developed. So he has came up with this modified equation. So remember, there are three members are there who modified this Westergaard equation by conducting the field studies. One is edge stress by Teller and Sutherland. Then another one is corner stress by Kelly. Okay, these are the modified equations which are developed to determine the wheel load stresses. Okay, wheel load stresses because of the wheel load what we have applied. So for this, we have got this modified equation. That is Teller and Sutherland and Kelly. They have developed this equation, and nowadays these equations are used for determining the wheel load stresses in the cement concrete pavement. So you can observe here P, that is the wheel load, P is wheel load, mu is Poisson's ratio. So we can take it as 0.15. So the Poisson's ratio of cement concrete, we can take it as 0.15. So this is constant. You have to remember the Poisson's ratio of cement concrete is 0.15. Okay, this is the general question they will ask in the competitive exams. That is the Poisson's ratio of cement concrete. It is 0.15. And all other terms you have already known. That is H is the thickness of the slab. Then P is the wheel load applied. Then E is the Young's modulus or modulus of elasticity. A is the radius of relative stiffness. K is the modulus of subgrade reaction. So these are the two modified Westergaard's equation which is used to determine the edge load and corner loading. Why they have selected this edge load and corner loading? Because the maximum critical stress occurs at the edges and corner of the cement concrete pavement. That's why they have came up with two modified equation for edge loading and corner loading. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So kindly unmute yourself and you can answer. Is it clear? Next one is temperature stresses. Okay, I was telling that not only the wheel load stresses will be creating problem in the cement concrete, the temperature also creating a problem in the cement concrete. And the temperature stresses, why? Because the flexible pavement also, which is having some temperature susceptibility. Why? Because the bitumen is more susceptible to temperature. As we all know that general criteria, the bitumen will be in liquid form at higher temperature. At room temperature is semi-solid, and at lesser temperature it becomes like a solid. So in this cement concrete, it is a solid structure, but how this temperature will be affecting? Why? Because when you see the cement concrete pavement, only the topmost surface will be exposed to atmosphere. Okay, only the topmost surface will be exposed to atmosphere, but the remaining will be resting on the subgrade soil or subbase. Subgrade or subbase, it will be resting. That is the atmosphere. So there is, when the surface comes in contact with the atmosphere, the sun means the temperature will be more at the top, and the bottom of the slab is not having any contact with the sun or atmosphere. The temperature will be very less at the bottom of the cement concrete slab. So remember, when the slab is exposed to atmosphere, the temperature of the slab will be high, and when the slab is not exposed, the temperature will be less. So when there is a difference in temperature, means the temperature stresses are going to develop. There is if there is any variation in the slab temperature, if the temperature of the slab at the bottom is equal to temperature of the slab at the top, if both are equal means there will be no temperature stresses will be there. If there is any change in the temperature of the top and bottom of the slab, there exists this temperature stresses in the cement concrete pavement. So simple, remember, if there is any temperature difference between top and bottom of the cement concrete pavement means there we are going to have this temperature stresses. If there is no temperature stresses means there is no temperature differential means we will not be having any temperature stresses which are developed in the cement concrete pavement. So temperature stresses are developed in CC pavement due to variation in slab temperature. I told right, when there is any variation in the slab temperature, there is either top or bottom of the slab, then comes this temperature stresses. Then the variation in temperature occurs the depth of the slab is caused by daily variation with overall increase or decrease in the. So only the depth will be affected by this temperature, which is caused by the daily variation, but overall increase or decrease in temperature is caused by the seasonal variation in temperature. So not only the daily temperature, daily variation of the temperature will be affecting the temperature stresses, the seasonal variations also affects the temperature stresses. So as we all know that during summer, the top portion of the cement concrete pavement is temperature is higher, but the bottom of this temperature, bottom of the slab temperature is lesser. But when you come to winter season or rainy season, the surface temperature of the cement concrete pavement is lesser and the bottom is still lesser than the top slab. So because of this seasonal variation and daily variation, the thermal stresses or temperature stresses are going to develop. And the two types of stresses are produced due to temperature variations are one is warping stress, another one is frictional stress. Warping stress, which are also called as bending stress, you can note down. So due to temperature differential between top and bottom of the pavement as a result of daily variation at the location. So because of temperature differential between top and bottom of the cement concrete pavement, if we are getting any temperature differential, then we can say that the bending stress has been occurred or warping stress has been occurred in the cement concrete pavement. So because of this temperature differential, right, at the top one temperature will be there, at the bottom of the slab other temperature will be there. If there is a variation, that is if there is any difference between the top temperature and bottom temperature, then exists this warping stresses. Next one is frictional stresses. Because of overall increase or decrease in temperature of the pavement, slab results as a seasonal variation. So because of daily variation, warping stresses are going to develop. Because of seasonal variation, the frictional stresses are going to develop. So remember, because of daily variation in temperature, daily variation, warping stresses are going to develop. Because of seasonal variation, the frictional stresses are developed. Frictional. So remember, because of daily variation in temperature, we are going to get this bending stress development. If the seasonal variation is there in the cement concrete pavement means, then we can get this frictional stresses. Okay, is it clear? Temperature stresses. Is it clear? Kindly respond.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear? Others, kindly respond. Others, kindly respond. Is it clear? So wait. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. I will come back. Sorry for the inconvenience. So the temperature stresses are developed because of this variation in slab temperature. So when there is a daily variation in temperature, then we can expect this warping stresses. When there is a seasonal variation, we are going to expect this frictional stresses. So we will see what is this warping stresses, how this bending will be occurred. Bending stresses will be occurred when there is a warping stresses are there. So you can observe here in the slab. So during midday or the afternoon, during afternoon, the temperature will be higher at the top and temperature is lesser at the bottom of the slab. So during daytime, how it will be there? Higher temperature at the top, lesser temperature at the bottom, and because of that, the slab will bend downwards. Okay, the slab will bend downwards. It is a so right here only. You can observe here. The slab bend like this. That is a if you consider a slab like this. So it will bend. Only the corner portion will be bending. Okay, the corner portion will be bending rather than bending of the entire slab. The corner portion will be bending. So when it will be bending, when the temperature, when the bending is downwards means when the temperature is higher than the higher at the top and lesser at the bottom. So when the temperature is higher at the top and the temperature is lesser at the bottom, during daytime, the slab bend downwards. Okay, the slab is going to bend downwards. The same thing will be reversed. That is during a night time, the temperature, lower temperature at the top and higher temperature at the bottom, and slab will lift. Okay, like this, the slab is going to lift. Okay, that is if you consider a slab here, so it will lift from the original position. So the curling up will be there. The slab will bend in the upward direction. So remember, when the higher temperature is at the top and lesser temperature is at the bottom, it will bend towards the lesser temperature. And during night time, the lower temperature will be at the top and higher temperature will be at the bottom. So here also the slab bends towards lower temperature. Okay, this is the bending of this slab due to thermal stresses. That is this bending we are going to call it as warping stresses. Okay, during bending some stress will develop. That stress we are going to call it as warping stresses. So remember, during daytime the surface temperature, top surface temperature will be high. The bottom temperature is very less. So the slab bend towards the bottom. But when it is comes during night time, the temperature is lesser at the bottom and temperature is greater at the bottom and temperature is lesser at the top. The slab bends upwards. Okay, the slab bend upwards, which is called as a warp ups. warps up during the night time. So remember, during daytime the slab bend downwards, during night time the slab bend upwards. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly
Yes,
respond.
sir.
Next one is temperature stresses. So how to calculate this temperature stresses at three locations? We have already known three well-known locations where V load stresses are critical. At that point only we are going to note down the warping or temperature stresses. So the magnitude of stresses due to warping of concrete slab at the interior edge by considering the effect of Poisson's ratio and using a warping coefficient. So using the warping coefficients and the Poisson's ratio, the Westergaard worked out the thermal stresses also. So this is the thermal stress at that is the warping stress at the interior, warping stress at the edge, and warping stress at the corner as worked out. So remember, where STI is an interior warping stress, STE edge warping stress, corner warping stress is the elastic modulus, Young's modulus of the cement concrete. Thermal coefficient, small e, you can observe in the then temperature differential, that is the temperature difference between top of the slab and bottom of the slab, coefficient of direction in X, coefficient of direction in Y, Poisson's ratio, radius of contact, and L is the radius of relative stiffness. So what are these Cx and Cy? Okay, these are the Bradbury coefficients. Okay, Bradbury coefficient, which are basically depends on Lx by L and Ly by L. Lx means length of the slab, Ly means width of the slab. So make a note, Lx length of slab and Ly is the width of the slab. So remember, always Lx is greater than Ly. So based on this Lx and Ly, that is the length and width of the slab, we are going to get this coefficient of warping stresses using Bradbury graph. Okay, I'm going to show that graph also. So this is the temperature stresses coefficients which we are going to develop or which we are going to obtain from the Bradbury curve. So Lx I told right, length of the slab in X direction, width of the slab in Y direction. Then coefficient you can observe here Cx and Cy, which are dependent on Lx and Ly. So Lx length of the slab divided by radius of relative stiffness. Okay. So the ratio of length to radius of relative stiffness, we are going to call it as Lx by L. So based on the Lx by L, the Cx we are going to get, and Ly width of the slab to the radius of relative stiffness. Radius of relative stiffness. So remember, the Cx is depends on Lx by Ly, the Cy is depends on Ly by L. So for corresponding Lx by L value, we are going to get the Cx. For example, we have got Lx by L as 5.0. So draw a line here. It will cut the point here. So this is the 7. This is 7. Okay. This is 5. So Lx by Ly we have taken Lx by L as 5. So project it outward. So this value, whatever this value, that is 0.72. So this will be the Cx value. So when it is X value, we are going to get Cx. Okay, when it is Ly by L, for example, it is 7. So draw a line vertically, which will cut the curve here. So project it outwards. So we'll get a 0.98. So 0.96. So that will be Y. So Ly by L corresponding to Cy, Lx by L corresponding to Cx. When we solve the problems, we will get to know how we are going to get this Cx and Cy. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear how to get this Cx and Cy from the Bradbury equation? Only respond. You can unmute yourself and you can answer, or you can leave a message in the chat section. Is it clear? When we solve the problem, we will let to know. We will get to know how this Cx and Cy we are going to get, and Ly by L how we are going to get. So when we solve the problem, we will be knowing. Okay. Next is frictional stresses. Okay. Next concept is frictional stresses. I told right because of seasonal variation, frictional stresses are going to develop. Because of seasonal variation, the frictional stresses or friction stress are going to develop. Due to uniform fall, due to uniform temperature rise and fall in cement concrete slab, there is an overall expansion and contraction. So the slab will be looking like this. So it may expand up to certain degree, or it may contract up to certain degree. So remember, because of this seasonal variation in the temperature, the slab may expand or the slab may contract. Okay, because of this expansion and contraction of the slab, the friction is going to develop between the slab and the subgrade soil. The slab, okay, the friction is going to develop between the slab and the underlying layer. Okay, underlying layer. So because of this expansion, because of uniform expansion, uniform contraction, because of the seasonal variation, the frictional stresses are going to develop here at the interface between the concrete slab and the underlying layer. The frictional stresses are going to develop, and that stress we are going to call it as frictional stresses in the rigid pavement. So the frictional stresses is given by this equation, that is SF is equal to W LCF divided by 2 into 10 power 4. So this is the frictional stress equation. So on this also you may expect a problem, that is they'll give all the values. What is this W, what is this L, F, everything will be given. Simply inputting all the values and getting the frictional stresses. Okay, so the F is frictional stresses. W is the unit weight of concrete, that is 2400 kg per centimeter cube. So this is the W value. F is the coefficient of friction. The maximum coefficient of friction is 1.5. LC is the spacing between the contraction joint. Okay, spacing between the contraction joint. So we will see what is this spacing between the contraction joint. Then B is the slab width of the pavement. That is the B we are going to consider. So remember, the frictional stresses are going to develop because of the seasonal variation in the temperature, because of the contraction and expansion of the cement concrete pavement, the frictional stresses are going to develop, and the developed frictional stresses are calculated using this formula, that is W into LC into F divided by 2 into 10 power 4, which will be in terms of kg per centimeter square. Okay, is it clear? Frictional stresses, when the frictional stresses are going to develop, is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Okay. Next is a critical combination of stresses. Okay, this is very important. In the exam, they will ask for 6 marks. Okay, this will be asked for 6 marks. Simply writing where the critical stresses are going to develop and when it is going to develop. Okay, so remember, during we are considering 3 cases. One is a summer midday, winter midday, and a summer midnight. So these are the 3 cases we are considered for determining the critical combination of stresses. So critical combination during a summer midday occurs because of the load stress, warping stress, and frictional stress at edge region. Okay. During a daytime, the edge will be considered as a critical location. Okay, remember, during daytime, edge will be considered as a critical location. Okay, critical location. During night time, corner will be considered as critical location. So remember, during daytime, the critical location of the stressors will be edge. During night time, the corner is susceptible for critical location. The corner is considered as a critical location during the night time, and during the daytime, the edge of the cement concrete pavement is considered as the critical location. And the critical combination of the stress at the edge is a load stress. That is the V load stress which is going to act at the edge, and warping stress. Okay, that is STE. That is the warping stress which is going to act at the edge, and we are going to neglect or we are going to deduct this frictional stress at the edge portion. So we are going to deduct the frictional stress at the edge portion. Then comes the during night time. So the critical combination is load stress plus warping stress plus frictional. Okay, plus frictional stress will be there during night time. Okay, during night time, there is a during winter in the midday portion. Okay, in the midday during winter we will be having this load combination or critical combination of the rigid pavement. Then during midnight, okay, during night time, only the load stress and warping stresses will be there. Only the V load stress and the warping stresses will be there during the midnight time. So I told right, during night time, the corner is considered as the critical location. The corner is considered as the critical location, and during daytime, edge is considered. So during daytime means during winter and during summer we have considered, and these are the critical locations of the wait a minute. So during summer we are going to consider the edge as a critical location, and the stresses what we are going to consider is the load stress, warping stress, and frictional stresses at the edges. Then during winter midday, we are going to consider the load stress, warping stress, and frictional stresses also we are going to consider. Then during night time only the load stress and warping stresses will be considered. We are going to neglect frictional stresses during night time. Okay, the frictional stresses are neglected during the night time. And most critical location. What is the most critical location means highest of the 3 conditions that is mentioned above. There is either A or B or C. Though this value may depends on several factors, the summer midday is found to be most critical combination. So remember, in the competitive exam, they will ask that during what time the critical combination of stresses will occur. So during a summer midday, the critical combination of stresses is going to occur. So during summer midday, why? Because the temperature difference will be very high, and because of that the temperature stresses are going to develop because of the temperature stresses, the friction is going to develop because of the expansion of the slab. That's why the summer midday is considered as the critical combination of edge stress during summer midday. So summer midday is the time where we can experience this most critical stress in the cement concrete pavement. So remember, the most critical stresses develop in the cement concrete at summer midday. During summer midday, the most critical stresses are going to occur. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any doubts in this? So we will be solving some problems in the 11 o'clock class. So everyone be ready with your notes, calculators for solving the problems on the Westergaard wheel load stresses. Okay. Using Westergaard wheel load stresses, we are going to solve some problems. So be ready at 11 o'clock. I'm going to share the link at 11 o'clock so that we can solve some problems on a Westergaard wheel load stresses. Okay. Any doubts in this? So today we have discussed about wheel load stresses. That is Westergaard wheel load stresses at interior, edge and corner. So these are the formulas what we are going to refer in the second session. Then the location of crack, where the crack is going to develop, we are going to determine using this formula. Then as we know that Westergaard assumes some assumptions that the cement concrete is of thin elastic plate and resting on viscous media. So Teller and Sutherland, they came up with a new equation that is modified Westergaard equation for edge load, that is for edge stresses, and for corner stresses. Kelly he conducted so many research work and he came up with this formula for corner load stresses. Then the temperature stresses, I told right, when there is a daily variation in temperature, warping stresses are going to develop. When there is a seasonal variation in temperature, frictional stresses are going to develop. So during daytime, that the temperature is higher at the top and the temperature is lower at the bottom, the slab bend downwards. Okay, because of the lower temperature at the bottom, the slab is going to bend downwards. Whenever it is considered during night time, the temperature is lesser at the top and the temperature is higher at the bottom. That's why the slab bend upwards. So this we are going to call it as warps up. Then the same Westergaard, he has carried out some study and he came up with temperature stresses, that is at the same three location: interior, edge and corner. Then the edge stresses, that is the warping stresses, are obtained from the coefficients called Bradbury coefficients, which are developed, which are dependent on Lx by L ratio, that is length to radius of relative stiffness and width to radius of relative stiffness. Based on that, we are going to get a Cx and Cy value. Then comes the frictional stresses because of expansion and contraction of cement concrete slab because of the seasonal variation. The friction is going to develop between the slab and the existing layer, which will create frictional stresses. So the frictional stresses is given by this equation. Then comes the critical combination of stresses. We have considered three time, that is summer midday, winter midday, and summer midnight. And among all the three, whichever is the highest, we are going to select. but during summer midday, the stresses will be maximum. Okay, the critical combination is maximum at summer midday. So that is found to be most critical combination during summer midday. So this is all about the stresses which are going to develop in the cement concrete pavement. Okay, so in the 11 o'clock class, I'm going to engage the problems. That is, be ready with your notes and calculators so that we can solve some problems on this Westergaard's wheel load stresses. Okay, I'll stop here. Is anything to discuss, or if you have any queries about your internal syllabus and problems, you can ask me. So for your syllabus, I told the remaining second half portion of the second module, the third module full. The notes has been uploaded in the MS Teams, both second module and the third module. You can go through the notes and you can read well for your internals. Okay. Syllabus, I think I have cleared from my point. That is half of the second module and full third module will be there for your syllabus. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, you can leave. Thank you. And join at 11 o'clock. Again, we will meet at 11 o'clock so that we will solve some problems on Westergaard equation. Okay, you can leave. Thank you. Have a good day.